Oregon School District School Board. I'm excited to share the mid-year report of Oregon Junior Senior High School with you. First of all, we'd like to talk about some celebrations. It has been an exciting journey over the last 4 years to see our scores increasing at the 7th and 8th grade level. As you can see by this slide, we've almost tripled our meets and exceeds scores from 2021 to 2024. Additionally, in math at the 7th and 8th grade level, we continue to improve there as well. We saw nice growth from 2023 to 2024. Part of that can be attributed to the fact that we increased the number of 8th grade students taking algebra. And we will continue to focus on that and increase rigor in that way to make sure that our students are not only doing well on the IAR, but also being prepared for the highest level of math they can attain while they're in high school. An additional celebration is our high school ELA score. You can see here that our ELA score went up pretty significantly this year. This can be attributed to the fact that the English department has really zoned in on the skills specifically required for students to be college ready, and those college ready scores are what's transitioning to increased scores on the SAT. It will be interesting this year to see what happens with the ACT, but we are doing everything we can to prepare for that journey. An additional celebration was our culture survey. Now, granted, this culture survey was done last spring. It's the Leader in Me culture survey, and I'm certain that you've seen this data because I shared it with you last spring, actually late last spring, maybe early summer. But it's still worth celebrating and noting the fact that you can definitely, anecdotally, you can feel a difference in culture and support and just a focus on academics, leadership, and culture throughout our building. So to have a 6-point overall increase in our culture survey from 2023 to 2024 was something that we were proud of then and we continue to be very proud of. Our goals for this year, as we've identified in our SIP plan, are, as you can see here. First of all, our performance goal is a 3 to 5% increase of meets and exceeds on the statewide or district-wide assessments. So for this in particular, we're talking about our ACT and IAR scores, as well as ELA and math overall. So what we're looking at as our benchmarks and what we're continually monitoring are the IXL completion and growth, which is prepping our students for the, in addition to IXL, which is primarily what the junior high is using, at the high school level, we are using our Horizon Education partner, which is the company that we do our practice test with. From the practice test, which we gave in September, we have an area of target for each one of the grade levels, and students are doing ACT prep questions and practice in their Hawk huddles, which is our advisory period in the middle of the day. That's happening in all grade levels. And then teachers are also working on test prep that's classroom based in the individual classes. So on the ACT, they'll be tested on reading, ELA, and math and science. So those teachers are heavily focused on providing relevant classroom-based preparation for the ACT. Some levers for improvement when we think about our performance goal. First and foremost is the content professional learning teams, or you've heard us call them the PLCs or PLTs. These professional learning teams are very focused on their data, and the student outcomes. So all of the content teams form into these professional learning teams. That even includes the electives. And within these teams, they are focused on the identified areas for growth from the practice assessments that we're doing through IXL and through Horizon. The math team is extra specially focused because math is our major skill deficit area. The math team, right now, we are doing a book study on a book by Peter Liljedahl called Thinking Classrooms and Math. So we are very focused on our instruction in our math team. And when I say the math team, I mean all 5 math instructors, 7-12. We're also very focused on student skill building in math. And lastly, as I mentioned before, we are very strongly encouraging and trying to build skills so that we can get more 8th grade students into algebra and having success. Lastly, we have increased rigor in the core content areas, and in doing that, what we've done is we've introduced pre-AP English for our 8th grade honors and 9th grade honors students. We've introduced an additional AP language class for our sophomores and juniors in English, so we can continue to build in English. We've also introduced a science course that's a high interest science course, but hitting the standards hard through forensic science. So we will continue to increase off-course offerings that are rigorous, but inside of the classroom, also making sure that we have high expectations and increased rigors within the classrooms as well. Our culture goal is centered around college and career and life readiness activities that are taking place at every grade level. One of our benchmarks is Profile of a Grad portfolio completion. Again, we've partnered with an online platform called Spaces EDU. Within Spaces, the 110 freshmen have their own portfolio where they are keeping track of their progress on the 5 Profile of a Graduate competencies. At this point in the year, we have 575 entries into the portfolios. We are very excited at the progress that our freshmen are making, and they will continue to build these portfolios for the rest of their school career. And every year after this freshman class, we will bring in the portfolios and introduce the portfolio work so that by the time students are seniors, they have a completed portfolio that they can share with a college, with their family, with a potential employer. That's the whole purpose of the portfolio. Additionally, this year, we are increasing the number of activities that are taking place in college and career readiness at the junior high level. We've introduced our senior seminar, which this year had approximately 50 students take it, with a heavy focus on financial literacy, but also just getting our students with their minds wrapped around what they plan to do when they leave high school. The last thing of our culture goal that's very important are our career pathway endorsements. The career pathway endorsements that we are offering this year, we've always offered these, but they've never been officially recognized by the state as career pathway endorsements. They are in the process of being recognized, and this year we have education pathway, the manufacturing pathway, and the agriculture pathway. In order for students to complete a pathway and earn the endorsements, they have to have done a career exploration activity, 2 team-based challenges, an internship, and 6 hours of college credit. At this moment, we're on pace to have 10 students, the first 10 students of Oregon Junior Senior High School, to complete a career pathway endorsement, and we are very excited about that. The profile of a graduate is work that we're very excited about as it's related to college, career, and life ready. On this, you've seen this prior, we've talked about this, but the 5 key competencies are here on the profile of a graduate. These are things that are constantly being reinforced, discussed, especially in freshman seminar and with our freshmen through their portfolios. But as these freshmen continue through their high school career, all of these competencies will be things that our goal is that they become kind of the driving force and the conversation around the soft skills that we expect of all Oregon junior, senior high school graduates. Lastly, our systems goal is around instructional leadership, both by the administrative team and the instructional coach, who is Kim Radistitz. You can see some benchmarks here. Our Critical Friends protocol is something that Kim Radistitz and I created at the beginning of the year that randomly matched all teachers with a partner. Throughout the course of the semester, we offered a sub so teachers could go observe each other with the expectation that everyone would do it at least one time, and then those partners would provide coaching to each other on the agreed upon objectives. Research is very clear that teachers learn best and are more influenced by each other. So we built this professional learning opportunity with this in mind. Of the Critical Friends partners, 85% of them have done at least one visit to each other, with some of them doing 2 visits, and we still have a couple weeks of the semester for the 15% that haven't done their visit to complete that visit. Another point of emphasis for improving instruction was to make sure that administratively we are getting in classrooms to the greatest degree possible. To date, we've completed 113 informal evaluations. Just for perspective, we're not done with the semester, and this is already 4 times more than we did last year. Most of these informal observations have led to follow-up discussion about instruction and student learning. Additionally, I want to point out that this year we have Kim Radistitz providing instructional coaching. She does it 1 period a day. We are not compensating her anything differently. We just arranged her schedule in a way that we could free her up for 1 period. These are all the things that she has already done this year. So, she writes a bi-weekly teacher talk newsletter with tips and tricks. She was integral in making sure that interactive whiteboards were functional for teachers and that teachers knew how to use them. She has facilitated after-school workshops. In fact, she's going to present at our faculty meeting tomorrow. She's presenting on Wednesday about e-learning at our staff meeting. She's met with 13 individual teachers regarding various topics. She also supports the New Teacher Academy. In addition, she built a activity for Veterans Day to do a virtual escape room, and has recently taught 15 of our staff members how to build their own virtual escape room. So she is a treasure. She is a huge part of our instructional excellence, and I'm glad that we can find a period for her to coach, and I'm certainly hopeful we can find more time for her because she is such an asset to our district and to our teachers. In addition, she is teaching in the education pathway our college class for our educational aspiring teachers who are seniors in high school. Some behavioral data. So at first glance, you'll see that maybe this data isn't especially positive, as we've nearly doubled the days of out-of-school suspension to this point in the year and lessened the days of in-school suspension to this point in the year. But one of the things that I want to make clear was that our data and discussion with our students at the end of last year, both myself and the other administrators, as well as Dr. Capozzi with our outgoing seniors, was that our students were really feeling like some behavior needed to be held more accountable. This data that I'm sharing with you here is indicative of holding students to a much higher expectation for behavior. One of the major things that we did was change the consequence for vaping or being in possession of vape at school from a day of ISS to 3 days of out of school suspension. It has significantly reduced the number of incidences we've had, but it has increased the numbers of days of ISS that we have issued. Additionally, we've really cracked down on things like hate speech and horseplay, because those also lead to a negative climate that is not what we expect of our students. So again, while this may not present well, it's important for you to understand that it is part of improvement of the climate and safety of our building. This, as you have seen before from Mr. Larson's presentation, this is improvement from last year. We were at 82.65 as our overall index score. Our areas of focus, as I've already indicated, math is probably our biggest area of focus. Additionally, increasing our ELA and science proficiency, our improvement of our 9th grade on track. Also, we really need to focus on chronic absenteeism. It continues to be a struggle, and if you look at this index score, you will see that it is our lowest area with a 4.6 out of 10. This is a challenge for us and something that I asked the board for support and help with, because this is going to take a full effort to help the community understand how important it is for students to come to school. These areas, chronic absenteeism and freshmen on track, are things that we can have a strong immediate effect on if we just continue to provide interventions and support, but also to help engage families around this work. A few other ideas, not ideas, but levers for improvement. First of all, as I mentioned, we continue to push to increase rigor in the core curriculum. We are working with OES on a strong procedure and process for acceleration across all of our grade levels. We are committed to test preparation and alignment of our daily curriculum to our standardized tests, so that our students are prepared and they know what to expect. Additionally, we have really beefed up our supports, academic and social emotional interventions, and have a very strong, very well-trained and expert student assistance team who have really stepped in to help us build out a stronger multi-tiered system of supports, and really stepped in to help out students and families. We continue to address attendance and work with students and families and the regional office and truancy to understand the importance of coming to school every day. And we will continue to build and get really great at our professional learning teams, because they really, in my opinion, are where the magic is happening, with the focus on student outcomes and really a laser focus on what needs to happen to help our students be as successful as possible. As always, it is my honor and pleasure to serve as the principal of Oregon Senior High School, and it is always great to be an Oregon Hawk.